What's up, YouTube? Jeff Malott with Wilderness Systems, kayak fishing, and yakfisharkansas.com. I wanted to do a little recap of my recent tournament up on Table Rock Lake with the competing in the Kayak Bass Series North Division. It was a great tournament. First, I want to thank Terry Manley, Justin Spradlin, and Andrew Cameron for putting on the event. It was a great event, beautiful lake, and tell them what a great job they did, and I appreciate them hosting the event so close to home for me. As you know, I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's only a short drive from here to there. So to be able to go to an event like that close to my hometown was really great, and I hope they come back next year. Let me start out by saying I put a lot of work into this event. I was thrilled that it was so close to home, and also it was on Table Rock Lake, which is real similar to our home lake of Beaver Lake. That being the case, I sort of knew some techniques that might work, but I knew Table Rock was a little bit different. Did a ton of research for the months leading up to the event. Was very confident going up there, and for me to get the victory after all the work and research I put into it was a real blessing and real exciting. Had some good friends up there with me. My wife was there, so for her to see that hard work pay off was exciting too. But anyway, I want to get into how I prepared for it and then how the tournament itself went that day. Like I said, leading up, I did a lot of research, map study, Google Earth, avionics stuff, like probably a lot of you guys use. YouTube, watching videos of some of the local guides and fishing reports, some of the pro tournaments that have been there, just a lot of different research to figure out some things that might work, and then along with the time of year. The tournament was just a few weeks ago in late May. My guess was there were still a few fish spawning, along with some moving out post-spawn. I was focusing on trying to catch largemouth. I know that lake holds spotted bass, largemouth, and smallmouth, but the largemouth was my target just because I figured they would be my best chance for a big stringer. So anyway, I got there on Thursday morning. The tournament was on Saturday, so I had 2 good days of pre-fishing. Thursday morning and then Friday as well. It was cloudy, a little breezy, prefrontal conditions. Water temp when I checked it was in the mid 60s, almost 70. I fished the what I'm going to call the lower end of the lake. I'd fished Table Rock before, but it's the upper end of the lake that sticks into Arkansas. I hadn't ever been in the Branson area and fished. So the area I planned to fish, after talking to a few people, my son gave me some areas. I got there, it looked really good. Got out mid-morning, immediately got into some fish. Like I said, it was pre-front conditions. My main weapon of choice that day was a square bill crankbait. I went down some transition banks with that square bill paralleling the bank and picked up 3 keepers pretty quick. Left that alone, decided to look for a backup pattern and moved out to some deeper water. And I located some Kentuckies, some big schools of Kentuckies that were, the largemouth I caught were pre-spawn. The Kentuckies I got into looked like they were, or the largemouth were post-spawn. The Kentuckies looked like they were pre-spawn. They were, thick-bellied and feeding up in shad in the deep water trying to move in. So after I got into those largemouth, I checked some areas deep on some deep docks and found those Kentuckies. I got into those with a spy bait. They were suspended and feeding on shad, so I threw a spy bait, counted it down. If any of you fished a spy bait, slow retrieve, and I'm not real confident of that, but talking to a few good friends I have here that do that, I was confident enough to at least try it, and sure enough, I got into a couple of nice Kentuckies right away. I only fished for a few hours that day, and I drove around and looked at some other launch spots, but my first spot that I had researched all that time, turned out to be solid. Friday, same kind of conditions. It was cloudier, cooled down a little bit, rain coming in. I fished a similar area nearby, but not the exact same area. I chose to leave those fish I had found alone. Went out and still caught a few fish. The area I went the second day on Friday was a little more of a shallow flats. It didn't have the deep water that my initial area had, but I did catch some fish using some of the same techniques. So I hung it up early that morning, stopped pre-fishing about 9 o'clock, went and ate breakfast and said, hey, okay, I'm going to go back to where I was the first day. I know there's fish there, so even if they're not hitting, on the same kind of stuff I found in pre-fishing, I'd be all right come tournament time. So tournament morning, I got up very early, got to my spot. The KBS had the captain's meeting the night before, so you can go launch and actually paddle to the water way ahead of time and be there. I was there an hour before first cast, just waiting on the sun to come up. anxiously waiting. I carry a lot of rods with me. I tied on everything that I used in pre-fishing, as well as some backup lures. And sure enough, when the sun came up, first cast time came and clicked over on my phone. Just a few casts in with a buzz bait, I picked up my first fish. It was a Kentucky back on that transition bank where the largemouth were. Got a picture of it. Started throwing the square bill a little bit and the buzz bait alternating. Picked up a keeper largemouth there. It was a 17-inch largemouth. Nice start to the day. I had a 13 3/4 Kentucky, a 17-inch largemouth, and I was feeling pretty good. As the sun started coming through the fog, the bite on that transition bank stopped. I decided to run out to the deeper area, to leave those fish alone for a minute and come back. Got out to that deep dock, picked up a couple more Kentuckys right away, and filled out a limit pretty quick. Wasn't feeling real good about it, other than I knew there were good Kentuckys there. These were just little, 12 to 13-inch Kentuckys. I thought it's good to have a limit, but I need to get on some larger fish. Went back to that same area I started in, started throwing the square bill again, picked up another largemouth that went 16 inches, I think, 16 1/4. Worked that bank a little more, started throwing a drop shot as the sun got high, and caught another keeper. At this point, I'd had a limit for a while. It wasn't a huge limit, but I was in the mid-70s. I hadn't checked the leaderboard on iAngler yet. I decided finally to take a peek at it around noon. And when I did, I was sitting on 76 inches and realized that the leader was only at 77.5, I think, and the second place guy was 76.75. So I was only an inch and a half behind at that point. My largemouth bite had kind of quit there on that transition bank. It was a little shallower. It was a kind of a rocky transition bank going in with some deep water nearby. But it had quit as the sun came up, so I thought, well, I'm only an inch behind. I can get back out to that deep water, and I knew there were some decent Kentuckys in there. So I went back out with the idea that I'd throw that spy bait around a little bit and maybe pick up a 15-inch Kentucky, cull one of my smaller fish, and jump the leader, or at least stay in the top three. I was feeling pretty good about it at that point. Well, got out there, threw the spy bait a little bit, and they didn't want it. They didn't touch it like they did in pre-fishing. But something I'm not real comfortable with is throwing a spoon, but I knew Table Rock was kind of a spoon lake, and these docks were real deep docks that poked out almost to the creek channel running back into this creek. So I had a flutter spoon tied on as a backup in case the spy bait wouldn't work. That I had rigged up the day before with a special little feather tail on it. It was a 5-inch flutter spoon that I picked up down at Lake Fork Marina last fall. Started throwing it, immediately caught a 17.5-inch largemouth. Pulled up in a stall, started flipping it around again, caught a 14-inch largemouth. Broke that spoon off and was in kind of panic mode and dug around in my box and found this one. Wasn't feeling real good about this one. It's kind of dirty and rusty. If you look on the hook there, it's kind of bent, but it's what I had. So I tied it on and went to work, and sure enough, I dropped it down in one of those boat stalls and hooked up with another 17-inch largemouth, and that turned out to be the winning fish. And water I was in was about 50 feet deep. I was letting those things fall on free spool until I see the line jump, and I bet I was catching those fish in 20 to 30 feet. And while I was counting on catching Kentuckys out there, which I did, there were some pre-spawn Kentuckys there. I was just blessed to find post-spawn largemouth underneath there with them, and those largemouth ended up calling me up. I had no Kentuckys in my limit, it was all largemouth, and that ended up being the deal and pushing me over the top. I'll go over the baits I used real quick. Like I said, I started off the morning with a square bill. I threw this one a little bit. It's a little Spro, Little John. Threw this along with a little KVD 1.5. Pre-fishing, this was a ticket. I caught fish solid on caught a 19.5 and an 18 and a couple other really good keepers in pre-fishing with the square bill. But on tournament day, one of my keepers came on the square bill. That was it. It was early. It was a good one. It ended up really helping, but it wasn't like it was on the 2 days leading up. Next bait was a Golden's Baits drop shot. This is a June bug color, but what I used that day was a green pumpkin 6-inch finesse worm on a drop shot with a 3/16 ounce weight. Caught a 16 1/4, I believe, on that drop shot. And then to fill out what ended up being my final 3 fish of my 5 keepers, I went out to the docks and started throwing that flutter spoon around. Casted it a few times and let it fall, but really I was getting up in the boat stalls in the shady areas and just letting it fall. And as it would fall on the slack line, I'd watch that line real close, and when the line would tick, I'd thumb the spool, jack them, and gauge the reel, and you know, it was on. They were eating it pretty good. Some of the fish, you know, had this big old spoon halfway down in their mouth, and the treble hooks buried in the roof of their mouth. I mean, they weren't coming off. Although I did lose a couple that would have had to be even bigger limit on this, just because when they jump with this heavy spoon, and, you know, even if they're good and hooked, that weight of that spoon will help them throw it. But it was a great day. You know, I was a nervous wreck at the weigh-in. They turned the leaderboard off about noon, so you don't know what, you know, where you stand. You think you did good, but you're not sure. Like I said, I was just thrilled to end up coming out on top. 3/4 of an inch was the difference. First, second, and third all had pretty good limits, and then after that it fell off. You know, Saturday tournament day was classic post front. It was bluebird skies and no wind. About noon, 1 o'clock, the wind picked up, and I heard the bite picked up a little bit. And it did for me. I caught my, you know, final cold there that last hour, but overall it was a pretty tough day. So I was blessed to, like I said, to catch a solid limit and come out like I did. Anyway, hope that gives you some idea of how it went down, and like I said, I want to thank Terry and KBS for putting that on. It was a great time. I can't wait to get down to Lake Guntersville for their classic. As a result of winning this, I get to go to the classic. So see those guys again in the fall, and if you can get to a Kayak Bass Series event near you, I highly recommend it. First class event, a lot of great prizes given away, a lot of fun, pre-tournament and post-tournament. So once again, thanks for watching, and I hope I see you out on the tournament trail sometime. Thanks.